Omar, we've got regulation, which, and we've got the law, but then ethics are different.
Yeah.
Tell me about ethics in space, and how do you start to view that as an organization within NASA?
Yeah. No, ethics is fundamental to every single thing you're going to be working on. As a matter of fact, one of the first documents on artificial intelligence published by NASA was a framework for ethical implementations of AI. I think it was published in 2021, and that tells you how much emphasis we're putting on these. It's starting from basic functions, like human resources. You need to make sure you're not making any bias, you're not making any unfair decisions in hiring people, in promoting people. And going to space, for example, once we start having astronauts going to long missions, there's going to be a lot of data being collected, so privacy comes into question. So we have to be careful with all these kind of things. Once we go into even further, into the, for example, you go to a cave or a lava tube on the surface of the moon, for example, and something happens, and you have an autonomous system that you're working with it, and that system is the only hope you have to save you, for example. If there's multiple people, and that system can only save one person, who does it select? I mean, this is something, it becomes so complex. In my opinion, sometimes ethical issues are more complex than technology issues. And just going back also to the fundamental laws we have for robotics and autonomy. So the Asimov laws, which we've abided by for a long time, it tells you that a robot might not injure a human. But then if a robot has to do surgery on you to save you, it has to do an incision. That's hurting a human. Even though it's not for the bad, it's for the better good, but the definition, it has a conflict in the whole concept, right? So we'll have to revisit the fundamentals of everything we'll be looking at and see how they can evolve with artificial intelligence. But it's at the core of every single thing we do. It has to be fair, transparent, accountable, safe, secure, explainable. And I think not only NASA, but I think most organizations are starting to pay attention, and we're making progress in that field.
Yeah, because just because you can do it doesn't mean that you should do it.
Absolutely.
And there's a balance between a lot of pressure to innovate, but then also making a decision, well, what's the right thing to do?
That's the most delicate balance you need to do. I mean, too much regulations, you will stifle creativity. You can't do much with it. And we can't, especially in a field like artificial intelligence, where advantages and disadvantages are substantially amplified compared to anything else. We need to have some kind of governance, proper ethics, governance, and regulations at the same time that keeps innovation and creativity flourishing. And also, we need to do regulations and policies that are adaptable, because things will move and change very fast. And if we do archaic ways and rigid policy and regulations, they're not going to be amendable to what's the progression and the fast progression. So we need to think about how do we develop frameworks that are adaptable, progressive, and encompassing. And they need to be not only done by certain segments. When you're coming up with ethics consideration, you need to have engineers, you need to have philosophers, you need to have policymakers, you need to have an abundance of diversity. Diversity is going to be what's going to give you the power.